All right, here we are, and here we go on Outreach number 13. Today we'll be featuring Bobby Martinez. Guaranteed you know who Bobby Martinez is if you're tuned in on this channel. Today's intro music was presented by Bob Boss's personally recorded jazz cassette tapes that he left when Shelby and I moved into this house. He was the prior owner, was a jazz guitarist in a jazz guitar trio band, and when he left he had a huge collection of music with vinyl and cassette tape, and I asked him if he'd leave any, and he left me all his cassettes, which has been super fun. I haven't listened to this one all the way through. I have a ton, so I just kind of, it's a great way for me to just put a cassette in and get to work, enjoy doing something, whether it's art or editing or whatever, and you hear some hits in there. It's really fun. It's uplifting music and a great way to start the day, you know. On that note, starting this day, I do want to reflect on yesterday. If you missed Tom Carroll's pretty much mind-blowing conversation about the whole, kind of his reflections on his time at Pipeline, how he came to be wearing a helmet, pushing the level and the limits there. That will be uploaded because it was a later episode last night. I didn't get to uploading it yesterday, so I'm hoping that today we'll find time to get that up. Also, in other news, if you've been liking these live streams, it's been fun for me. Tune in at 5 p.m. I'll be going live with the Vans crew on the Vans YouTube channel, which is going to be insane. I'm going to get to talk to Dylan Graves. We're going to go deep, things you might not have seen in Weird Waves, and then with Leanne Curran talking about music. She's scored a couple soundtracks and just in general is just a badass. So that's going to be super fun. So don't miss that. And again, I always have to thank everybody. Just thanks for tuning in. Thanks for texting a friend if you can. You still have the opportunity. I'm about to call Bobby Martinez on my cell phone, and we're going to FaceTime that legend. But really, it's just grassroots, and it celebrates, I think, all the feedback I'm getting is kind of like, hey, I'm reconnecting with, you know, the parts of surf culture that I grew up with, that I love, and also getting the insights from the surfers, kind of where they're at now, kind of what time, how their mind frame was when they were creating these videos. And these are basically like time capsules, you know, they're moments in time, which brings us to what we're going to celebrate today, which is Burn with Josh Williams and Metal Storm Productions. Had a couple people reach out to me about the filming on this. So Jason Minnie Blanchard, who we talked about the other day on Dane Reynolds' show, who did First Chapter, basically a lot of Dane's projects, has footage in this of Bobby. So that's priceless. This section of Bobby specifically is mind-blowing. And then Dave Malcolm hit me up. So Dave Malcolm films with Dylan Graves now, currently doing all the Weird Wave stuff. He said this was his first time ever getting a plug in a surf movie, I think. So I don't want to do that wrong, but I think that's what he texted me. And of course, Dave has a long lineage of Transworld surf movies, which I'd love, love, love to show one day and get a call with poor old Dave. He's a legend. He's a great dude. So it's really cool to connect with not just the surfers, but also the cinematographers behind these movies. And that brings us, of course, to today's first course, is Mixtape. And this is a video by Pete Santamaria. And it was a Reef film that came out when Bobby was with Reef. And it kind of celebrates his rookie year on tour, but there's also some free surf trips on the side. Disclaimer, watched it this morning. This is a copy from Charlie Buckingham, who's basically our overseeing core lord, who just finds the way to get us these hard, deep cut movies. But it's weird. The soundtrack is perfect, but anything interview-wise, audio-wise, it just doesn't play. I don't know whether that's my VHS player or my DVD player. As you can tell behind me, I basically live in a pawn shop, so it could be any one of these cords gone sour. But I just wanted to let you know, if you were hoping to catch up on Bobby's insight in his preheat discussion before he went against Mark Occhilupo on his first event on the CT, that unfortunately will not happen. But it does kind of speak in a weird way to who Bobby Martinez is. He is always letting his actions speak louder than his words. I was just laughing when I was watching that, like, shit, like, there's no way we're not getting this insight right now. But, you know, I have to say, I couldn't feel more thankful that these guys are stoked to just take the time to talk about surfing in general. I don't know, you know, Bobby he is an elusive character. For me and my brothers growing up in California, and me specifically being a goofy foot, I couldn't really find a more tangible source of inspiration. always looked up to Bobby. He was basically in that rung. It's almost like how you looked at high school if you were a freshman and there were seniors. When I came into the NSSAs, I was a 10 and under, and that was Bobby's last year of just winning. He basically had the dynasty at that point. And his style is so unique. There's so much flow, so much control. There really isn't anybody who's close to where he was at now. It's just so different. It's unique. Like at that time, I would say Travis Logie had a very tight swivel in the backside. I mean, we're celebrating Bobby Martinez's backside surfing alone right now, but he's able to carve in such tight spaces and never look forced, never look rushed, and his barrel riding is top notch. Essentially, he's got that WCT format at that time where it's like, hey, if you're a goofy foot and you ride the barrel phenomenal on your forehand and your backside is fire, then yeah, you're gonna have a good run. Which brings us to Mixtape, which is his rookie year. I believe he got 3rd or 5th. Had the run for the title that year. It's insane. Like, I mean, it speaks for itself. So I don't really have to give the insight there. But I just want to say thanks. I mean, before I call Bobby, thanks to all the surfers who are participating in this. We've had basically the most diverse list of surfing to this point that I feel like I could create, and we're going to keep pushing further. You know, the names of Nate Fletcher, Shane Dorian, Taylor Steele, Troy Eckert, Ozzie Wright, Lisa Anderson. I know I'm forgetting a couple. Damien Hobgood was legendary. Tom Carroll, of course, yesterday, and they're going to keep coming. You know, I got a text from Kelly Slater. He's excited for Friday. Wants to break down Kelly Slater Black and White, obviously, but he has a top 5 that he was saying are very personal to him, so that'll be exciting. So without further ado, I always get into this mode where I can't stop frothing, but Bobby said he'll be ready for the call, so I'm just gonna flare him up. Flare him up! Give him the flare! We'll see. If he doesn't pick up, we'll play a movie, and then we'll get in touch with him. And yes! How are you, Bobby?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Good. I'm gonna go into the garage because it's kind of nuts in the house right now.
Dude, you got a full house now.
Yeah, we do. It's good. They're keeping us busy.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
But yeah, it's we got 3 kids and love it for sure.
Are you? Is that all daughters, or do you have a boy in there?
I got two girls.
Bobby, we're on poor connection, brother. Are you good in there in the garage? We had the garages.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're back. Okay, cool.
We're good?
I think we're good. I think it's good. We're getting into a good flow right now.
All right, good. I'll stick right here. Let me just pull this up real quick.
Hey, Bobby, is there any way you could put the phone on its side? It makes the image bigger.
Let's see. How? Like this?
Let's see if that works. Yep. Bam. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Is that all right like that?
Yeah, that's perfect, dude. So I'm sorry we got cut off because of bad service, but you were saying you have 1 boy and 2 girls?
Yeah, exactly.
It was
So
pretty...
we got 6, 2, and 4 months. So we're we got a little bit of everything right now.
Wait, so when we were at Waco, was that your oldest daughter who was surfing in the pool?
Yeah. I took the youngest one in, but I'm sure, if she was the bigger one, you probably saw her too, because I took her surfing too. They both love it in the water, so I'll take them both. You know, they love the water. It's pretty cool.
That's I mean, and too at the wave pool, it's interesting because it's that exciting part of being in a pool, but you're surfing. It's not like you're afraid of the ocean.
Yeah, no, it's so trippy. It's like the water's so inviting. It was all clear, and warm, and they was just like they wanted to be in it. The ocean's cold, they got to wear wetsuits and stuff, so it kind of I don't know, it's got to be a hot day, and they'll jump in, but the wave pool was they're all in it, The whole day. It was cool.
What have you guys been doing during the lockdown times? What's the family been up to?
We just kind of been cruising, what's funny is, I kind of feel like we live our, we meet with people, and do things, but we're always with each other as a family, and we constantly trying to go to like a beach. There's nobody.
Yeah.
Or like we'll go to the mountains. Always trying to get away from people anyway, because I don't know, it's just more enjoyable. So we're doing the same thing we normally do, as far as like Pearl's not in school and the kids don't get to see their friends, but we're still out and about. It's like we're pretty much doing the same thing we would normally do.
Yeah, that's kind of how we are too. You have to stay sane with like a dog walk or a run or something, like as long as you're not seeing a lot of people.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. You guys good down there? How you guys been doing?
Everything's been good, man. We're stoked. We're I told you we're dog sitting for Pat and Honolulu, so we have 2 pups here at the house, and it's been raining these last couple days, but yeah, I don't know. It's been fun because I mean, honestly, I've just been watching surf videos like I've been texting you like all day, every day, which is hilarious.
That's so cool, though. You getting all pumped up to surf and you can't go surf.
Good point. Yeah, it's almost frustrating a little bit.
At least you guys trippy though. You kind of just feel like this time you just want to stay healthy. You know, it's like the surfing and all that. Are like, I mean, actually haven't really had a desire to surf. It's just kind of like everything's so weird. You know, it kind of puts a damper on a lot of things. So I feel like I'm not even like excited to like leave my family and go surf.
I know.
I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird.
No, I totally get that headspace. It's almost like it's deflating to even like. I mean, to look at Surfline, I'm not even doing that, but I don't even think I'm like holding back. It just doesn't seem like a right time to be like firing up a surf kind of.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel the same way. So it's kind of trippy, like a weird time. It makes me want to I'm always wanting to be around my kids, but it's even more like, I don't know, it's weird. It's just weird, man. I can't really explain it. But like if I leave them to go do something, I don't know. It's just strange, you know. Like today, I looked for little waves for the first time since this whole thing has started, and it was small, but I just like I don't know. I just was like, I don't know. It's just weird, man. I didn't really like. I didn't surf, but I was like, I'm just gonna go. I could have got groveled a little bit.
Yeah, get your QS on real fast.
Yeah, exactly. Just to jump. There was no one around. It was nice, but I don't know. It's a strange time. Are people surfing down there? Dude,
there's some people at lowers, like the last I saw, but I'm sure that's the only place. I don't know, man. I'm just staying out of it, but it's all good. I understand it, but that's hilarious. Like, how sick would it be if somebody rolled up and you were just grinding out the smallest little, like, you're like, what?
And like, this dude's going crazy.
Yeah.
This is getting the best of him. And I'm like, yeah, it's funny because people are losing it. Like, they're tripping out. I'm like, I'm not having like a hard time like some of the people that I know.
Yeah. Well, you know
like,
it'll pass if it takes time. Everything kind of will come good. It just, I mean, that's the only thing that's really gnarly about it is the unforeseen time zone, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I'm with you. It's like we do know couples and their kids are like super social, you know, and they're always doing stuff with other people. Like they never do family stuff alone. They're always doing family stuff with other families or people, and like those are the ones struggling. You know, I feel like, and for us, like I'm like I like doing. I'm always doing stuff with just us, like an intimate. We're always together, it's like just us. You know, we'll venture out with other people, but 95% of the time, like when Pearl kids are home, like Pearl's home from school or something, we're just doing stuff, dude. Catching up on that time she was gone from school, you know. So we're like, that's why we're not really like missing so much of the social aspect, like some families that I know. So I'm just we're cruising through it, you know. But for the most part, I just hope no one gets it, you know. I hope we all stay healthy, you know, it's everybody, because it's like, it's crazy, like, not knowing how bad you'll be affected when you may not feel any symptoms, they say, or you might be just to the extreme and not, you know?
I know. No, I get it, for sure. It's fucking, like, have we ever been around in a time like this? It's insane. But it is, I will say here at least, like, a lot of people tune in because we have all this time, and it's cool, like, I mean, you're at the house, I'm at the house, it's like, it's kind of fun to celebrate these old surf movies randomly, kind of, and just be like, dude, like, what was happening in these moments? You know what I mean?
I can't believe you even have those videos. I haven't seen those since they came out. I don't even know where you like got those from. I was tripping out.
I have to ask you because I didn't even put the Rising in this collection, which I also have in your last section. So that would be the first Metal Storm movie.
Yeah, that's right. The Rising. I forgot about that.
With you, and your section has Linkin Park to it. It's like, and you have the yellow boards or whatever, that Indo trip.
I can't remember, but yeah. Okay.
Did you like? I feel like I was always curious because we talked to McFanning, and I always thought he put a lot of emphasis into creating videos. But he's like, no, I was just doing comps, and like that was a byproduct of it. Do you feel like you ever put a lot of effort towards making these sections?
No, Sam, never. Like everything was always contest orientated, and I would never do like video trips. Like, yeah, no, never. I never would work on sections, like people do. It was all like someone gathering random footage or what they could from other people, and like I would go on a trip here or there and make video, but yeah, like never. 95% was just strictly contest, like never really did a.
I mean, I'll say probably on behalf of surfing is that these sections become sacred because there's not really that much Bobby footage out there. Like it's actually quite hard to get a section. So it's like when I brought up mixtape, a lot of friends were like, dude, if you don't show his section in Burn, like that's a huge disservice. It's an interesting thing. It's almost like supply and demand in that aspect.
That's funny, yeah, because the Metal Storm, Josh, he was the only one I actually like tried to film with when I was like younger, around that age, but it was still around contest, we never went on a trip. So when you're at a contest and you're surfing and you're kind of not, I don't know, I was never like trying to surf my best. I was just kind of getting warmed up and filling it out and staying like, you know what I mean? Just
I get
like,
it.
Feeling the groove.
Yeah.
And I wasn't surfing that much because I tried to save it for the event, right? So we still tried to work around the contest. Like our footage in France, in Bern, I think it was all around the contest.
Okay.
I never, there was like I can't even remember like a trip, like even with him, that off the top of my head, that we went on strictly to work for his video part.
But it is pretty sick because in his movies, so Metal Storm, that like the crew there, I feel like Freddie P always had crazy stuff. Like he'd bring in the boys, like Barca has sick stuff, Roy Powers, and it was for us, I think it was a different crew to be celebrated, and there was like all the momentum and stuff. So we really dove in on the Metal Storm kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that about Josh because, as we all know, surfing is so small, and like Taylor still just had his little thing going, and it was only the people he wanted in it, Yeah. And then throughout the years, he would bring someone else in, like an Andy, or like, he'd bring one or two guys in maybe, but he had his people, like, and Josh kind of did that with his generation, with like his friends, which was like Freddie. He was close with Freddie and Barker, and just all of our age type, because we're a whole different generation. And so he kind of did that for a minute with us, and it was cool. I mean, it was we kind of just. I don't know how many people really worked on the parts, like as far as like a Taylor Still thing, like
Yeah.
Like,
but dude, the soundtrack alone, like you have Tupac as your song, it's phenomenal.
The funny thing is, Tupac is my favorite, but I don't think it goes good to surfing at all.
What?
Like I don't even like I don't like it. Like I like my Linkin Park song a lot better with surf.
Okay.
So like I just feel like I don't know. That's just kind of how it was when I saw it. Like I never really had no big like saying in the music and all this and stuff. He just put it together and did it. When he did the Tupac thing, I was like, oh, it's cool. I like Tupac, but I don't think it fits. That's just my personal.
It does make it really unique. But the thing that I noticed the most is like at that moment you were all on the MBMs and they were like longer boards, and now you're riding shorter boards and a lot of quads. At what point was that switch up?
When I stopped doing contests.
Like right away?
Right away, yeah, because right away. I couldn't surf anymore the way I'd been surfing my whole life, riding the longer boards and trying to surf a certain way for these contests. And then I was able to just forget about it and just try to ride stuff that was just fun. Like the quads, they're smaller and shorter. And I'm definitely not doing my best surfing, but I'm enjoying it a lot more, and their work in the boards just work different. So I kind of came to that point when I stopped caring about, how I was looking or how I was going to feel in the heat. My equipment switched right away.
I heard.
And I've been like that since, because now I've gotten on longer boards very rarely since I've stopped doing contests, and it makes me feel like I'm going back to trying to surf my best, and because those boards only allow you to do so much, where the little ones are skatey and they're just a little bit more lively, and they're more fun.
Yeah, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone, because it's like normally you've taken a certain line on a wave, let's just say Rincon, 1,000 times, and now your board's smaller, has 4 fins, you're hooking differently on your backside. I mean, that's chasing the excitement.
And the other thing is, though, when I was riding normal short boards, I was traveling a lot, and so we were going to places where there was waves. So I had to get those boards kind of in tune for the contest. Right now, I'm home a lot, and the waves are horrible here. It may be a Maverick swell, and it's only head high, and it's real soft. So it's those boards get bored. So now that I'm stuck here, I'm glad I adjusted to where I live, because it's gutless here 99% of the time. You know what I mean? So it's I can't ride those boards here and have fun personally. And so that was kind of how my boards worked back then. And
was it tricky having that adjustment from contest? I mean, obviously we're just talking equipment, but traveling that much and then coming home and then switching it up and taking different lines.
No, because I was really burnt by it. I had been doing that since I was 13 years old. I started traveling constantly, a lot. And I stopped when I was 30 or something, 29 or 30 or something. And it was a long time. And there's obviously guys who did it longer, but for me personally, I was ready for the change. And I got home, I had never felt so and refreshed ever in my life. So I was really that didn't not traveling didn't factor for me at all. And plus I never I traveled so much that there's nowhere I really want to go. I've been to everywhere I want to go.
Yeah, I guess.
And the little places that I want to go, I go. I'll go visit my friends in Hawaii. I'll go catch up with them. And I'll go back to visit Cleo's family in Australia. So I get a little bit here and there. But there's no way I want to go on a surf trip. Go for 5 days down to somewhere and wait out for a swell. And then I've done that so much in my life, I don't.
But that's cool. I mean, that's actually the best way for that to happen, is just you filled the cup up. Instead of it being it taken away from you. That seems like a really actually healthy way.
I mean, it was taken away from me because if they didn't pull me from the contest, I probably would have still been on that rat wheel. I would have just rode it because I wouldn't have known where to go from there. So it forced me to not be on that anymore. And then when it forced, because I got a year suspension anyway, I was I'm not going back and doing all this contest shit. I'm done with it.
So they actually suspended you?
Yeah, for a year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Took all my points away and everything. So I would have had to start it back doing 2-star QSs to build points back and everything. Yeah, they stripped everything from me, and they fined me I didn't pay the fine because I didn't come back, but they took everything from me. And,
wow.
So I was fuck, I ain't going to do that bullshit to get back to what it was.
Yeah.
I already did that, and it wasn't fun. So it made me readjust my life,
Yeah.
And I could never go back and do that,
But I mean, even like you're saying, they basically because that was the year that I was on tour as well, that weird 6-month cut thing. And was that moment in New York, was that something that you had thought of for quite a while? Because that tour was feeling quite weird that year.
Yeah. I knew that year, I didn't go to a couple events. I wasn't like, I'm like, they're doing this cutoff and it's bullshit and I'm not for it. And I knew that the surfers who were, like the speakers for the WSL, they were talking to the surfers had their, what was that thing called again?
What, the One World ratings or something?
No. You know the surfers, they had like...
Surfers Union. Yeah, the representative.
Surfers Union.
Yeah.
Yes. So they were the only ones, they didn't give a shit about anybody, you know, and they didn't take a majority vote. They were just like, we're going to just do this because the ASP wants to do it, and the surfers just were like, folded no matter what to the ASP. So they just did the deal, and I was like, man, I'm not for this, you know. I was like, tons of people who weren't for it. So leading up to it, we knew that was going to happen, and so we knew it was going to happen like 4 events or something before the cutoff. Like in the beginning of the year, I think it was still kind of like, maybe we're going to do it, maybe not. Yeah. And then once they said, yeah, we're doing it, I was like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that's all good. I mean, kind of like you said, like, no matter what happens, you get through it, and it's just, like, cool. Like, I mean, where you're at now, where I'm at now, like, I look back, and I'm actually quite thankful specifically because of our time at Chopu, where we all got to stay together, and, like, that was so fun, and Manny was teaching us to box, and, like, we had that 2-week window where it's flat, and, like, for me, getting to hang with all you guys, it was my dream realized, because the tour to me was that moment, which was, like, the Hobgoods, Karen Perot was there, like all the boys, and we were just like hanging, you know, and so it's all good. Like either way, you get through it, and I don't know. I think it's what you did was a strong, rad, awesome thing for surfing. But you know, I just was curious your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so that was kind of it, you know. So I like thought about it for a while, and I knew I was going to do an interview before, and I just didn't. I was just done. So I like. And then once they pulled me for the year or whatever, I was like definitely done. And you know, it's like you things fall into play, and it fell in the right way, like for me. Yeah. You know, and I've been lucky that like Monster and Channel Islands, they supported me through. You know, and I'm, you know, and so they appreciated where I got a lot of negativity at that time. There was still a lot of positive that people, you know, appreciated, and I was lucky that some of it were my sponsors. And well, dude, so I've still been lucky, like to surf, right? And I basically, what people don't get is like, you still doing what you love, you know, and still blessed. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but like I'm still enjoying, and I still get to surf, so I'm not like. I could care less about, you know, all that stuff in the past. Totally. Today, I'm like very happy. Like my life is better than it ever has been.
Dude, that is so rad. And I mean, you have a family now. I did hear through the grapevine you might have a special board coming out with Channel Islands. Is that true, or?
I don't know what's going on after this point. I mean, the world is just such a weird spot. I mean, I was gonna come out with a little model. We were like kind of just starting to get that going, but. It's just so, like, I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen until, like, you know, but before things fell off track, it's a plan, but we'll see.
Are you still boxing at all?
Yeah, I'm still doing that. I'm still doing stuff to stay active, like, You got
fully into it, though, right? Like, I mean, you were properly taking it pretty serious?
I loved it from when I was a kid, and I started really getting into it, like, as a teenager, and whenever I'd come home, or I'd be somewhere, like, you know, straight there, I'd find a gym and work out, I'd come home and go straight into the gym, so it's like, it's definitely been a huge, like, part of my life, and it still is, you know, I still have friends who are involved in it, like, fighting, and it's, you know, I'm always watching it. I'll go down and watch some of the training camps. I'll work out sometimes, and just like it's a big, because where we're at is like the boxing mecca of the world. Like Ventura Oxnard has more world champions than anywhere in the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the mecca. So if it comes to boxing, this is where it's at. You know, obviously LA and all these other places have their good little hubs, but in general, our area is like known to be like the mecca, right?
Whoa.
And so I've been lucky that it's so exciting, like my friends are involved in it. One of my friends from here in the gym, he's been fighting world champions, and he's had a pretty big career, but it keeps me, so I'm really into it. Like I love every aspect of it. I love doing it, and I love watching fights and watching my friends in the big fights, and I love it. Yeah,
it was really fun for us because, I mean, when you and Manny were showing us just those simple moves, I started to realize that there's really not a lot of inspiration from that area. I mean, surfing, you do have a lot of people that love the UFC and stuff like that, and boxing is a bit of the OG of that area, right? Or I mean, it's a different thing, but it seemed like boxing was like it's iconic.
Yeah, it's an old school thing, It's like pretty old school, and it's huge in the Mexican culture, in the black culture, and so like a lot of people that I know growing up or people that I've been around, it's they all come from really humble beginnings, nothing, and it's a sport that you can't like what I tend to notice is like a lot of wrestlers go to school and then they learn wrestling and then they go to MMA, right? Well, a lot of these poor kids that I know don't even go to college, they don't. It's just this was it as a young age, learn fighting, and like my friend is from here in the town. It's been his life since he was 6 years old, and he's just learned to fight, and his fighting is day in, day out. And no college, never paying the tuition to go to any school or gym. They don't got nothing. So it's real big in that Mexican and black. Boxing's a lot. It's like somewhat of a minority sport.
Are they ever curious about surfing? Do you ever kind of take them out in the water?
Yeah. We go surfing. Yes, every blue moon we'll go, and they can surf. They can stand up, and they're just athletes, man. There's nothing. I mean, if you think about it, they fight for 36 minutes. It's the longest fighting sport there is, right? So they're conditioned in a way that nobody else is. So athletically, they can do anything, and they got skill. They have balance.
Dude, that's rad.
They're like the most tremendous athletes, It's insane. Like, our longest heat surfing is 40 minutes in a fight on.
Oh.
We're sitting probably 30 minutes.
Totally.
We're not catching a wave, and we're getting jet ski rides back. It's like those guys are constantly doing something for 36 minutes. It's insane. So those guys can do freaking anything. They're incredible athletes. I've never seen athletes like that in my life.
Well, I mean, I just felt like when you came on tour, right, like to bring it back to mixtape, and that was your rookie year, and you looked fit as a fiddle, and you were making finals left and right. Like, I mean, were you training at that point, like boxing, or what was the scoop?
Yeah, man, the funny thing was for me was, boxing did something for me in my life that surfing couldn't fulfill. So that's why, as a teenager, I got really into it because it gave me an outlet that surfing couldn't fulfill. So I was always active in boxing, like doing it on the road. If like I said, I can find a gym, or I come home, I go straight into the gym. I had to take my break from surfing because surfing, I get real frustrated, and boxing would, help me just, stop thinking about surfing. And so I always had this. I was always.
That's cool.
And so I mean, but see, the thing that's weird is like, boxing shape is great shape, but it's not surfing shape. It's two different things. Like surfing,
I get that.
The amazing surfers, they don't even train. They don't, like Andy Irons didn't do a thing. He just surfed. He was just surfing. You're in surf shape, and that's all you need to be in. And even Kelly, like, I don't even know if he's really ever trained. I know he like do something from time to time, but he wasn't on it the way like I was on it. I know that, but he was surfing a lot more than me constantly, because when I'd come home, I was forgetting surfing, going into the gym, or he'd probably go home and go straight to another place and go surfing, So it's like my boxing shape didn't do nothing for my surfing. It was
Okay.
just something else for me in my personal life that I needed, that was helping me out. But surf shape is surf. It's different.
No, I totally get that. And it's almost as if you could say the boxing really was more of like a lifting your spirits, a good therapy, like a good exertion to kind of step away from the contest, step away from where you were at surf and be like, cool, like almost reset and then get fired up to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what it did for me. You know, and I mean, you know, the great thing about it is that I found something else that I truly love, that now it's not all about surf, you know, like, you know, if it was just surfing for me, I mean, I'd be fucking bored out of my mind here. Like, you know, come fight nights when my friends are in camp, I get another exciting part of my life that I love, that I get to be around or I get to watch on TV, that I have something to look forward to.
That's
other
right.
than just surfing. So, you know, on that aspect too, it's been really good that I've had dabbled in other things, you know, so I have other passions, other places, basically.
Dude, it's actually so funny. So I don't know if you ever played soccer, but like when I was doing NSSAs, there was this urban legend that you were a phenomenal soccer player. And it was like, oh, well, Bobby's style, like his arms are always down. And in soccer, you're running and you kick with your feet. And I was like, so I played soccer all the way up in just till high school, like all fired up, like, dude, I'm going to surf like Bobby, which unfortunately did not happen. But I love soccer. And it like, I mean, yeah, because you want to, just like you said, like you got to find balance in other things. And it only helps your surfing. It's not like hindering at all.
Yeah, that's funny. I played soccer till I was in 6th grade. And I was just AYSO, and then I got on the All-Star team. But I never was like good. I never felt like I was good. I love it. Soccer, like the World Cup, and that's my favorite sport.
Oh, it's so fun to watch.
It's amazing, yeah. And I love soccer. But I didn't feel like it was good. But I would love to still like be playing. I just, but I wasn't that good.
Dude, you just myth busted. Like, I just lived my entire life kicking the soccer ball. Like, dude, Bobby Martinez, like, I'll be a green mount just smashing guys.
Oh, no.
That's so good.
You've been killing sure.
Soccer
is a great sport.
What was I going to ask you? I was going to, it was something with Burn. Oh, was the, how did the lifestyle side of that, like with the handballs and just rolling around with the boys, how did that come about?
Josh just was like, hey, you wanna, because I had a group of friends, like
that's Manny in there, isn't it?
Yeah, Manny, and I had a lot of other friends besides Manny, like you know, Jay, and then I had some friends I grew up with that just didn't surf and that were on a whole different way of life, and I still would kind of like, I would still like talk to them from time to time or hang out with them from time to time, you know, and he knew that, and so he's like, hey, well, you know, why don't we, you know, do you want to do something a little different, like, and show a little bit of like, you know, your other like kind of like side of your life or friends and people that you know, and like handball, like I would play handball. It's a great workout. So you want to just film, like the lowrider scene was like, hey, can you guys ever do lowriders? And of course my friends fucking had lowriders and shit, so it was like easy to get that, but it wasn't like me, but he wanted to put like, I was just like, whatever, you know, like I'll do it, but so that's kind of how it came out, was like he kind of wanted to just show a little bit, you know.
Dude, I love it. I think too it echoes like diversity of surfing. Like, it's not just like Bobby only surf. It's like, dude, you could come from anywhere. You could have friends from anywhere and still surf at the top level, which, I mean, nowadays it's like surfing is so much bigger. It's becoming more global, and it's cool for people to, you know, do it in their own way. It's like not everybody has to look like and do it the same way as everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely like being a real confused person as a kid, because I got Mexican, you know, I'm Mexican, and then I had like, you know, so basically this way, I grew up with kids who were just Mexican, and a lot of my family is like only Mexican, you know, they don't surf, they still don't surf, there's a whole different way of life. I somehow stumbled into surfing, you know, my dad, my brother, my mom, nobody surfs, and they still don't surf.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how I got into surfing, right? And I haven't inspired any of my cousins or younger cousins or anybody to surf. No one in my family surfs at all. We have a really big family. And so I have this whole, like, I don't know how I started surfing.
Dude, that's amazing. Holy cow.
So I have, like, you know, I was always confused. I'm like, am I a surfer? Because I'm my family and I'm not, we don't surf. And I always had this, like, confusion, and I never really knew how to balance it out. But I would hang out with my family or my friends, and then I'd have my surf friends and my you know, so there was this little thing. And Josh was like, well, why don't we show some of this here, you know, and we'll keep the surfing. And so that's kind of how it worked. And yeah, so it's strange. I mean, like I said, I got my dad's got 7. There's 7 of them. We counted it the other time. I got, like, in the high 30s of cousins, first cousins or something crazy. Like,
what, dude? Yeah. Family get-togethers must rock. Holy shit!
We got a big Mexican family, and like, my grandma's a great grandma, and she's been for years. But not one of them surfs. Not one of them even wants to go to the beach. They don't even want to surf, and it's strange, you know what I mean? So it's like I've had this weird.
But I will say, even if it's not directly in your family, like, globally, people looking at it and coming up and having you as an inspiration, I mean, dude, it's sick. Like, there's no better example of being able to do both and be yourself as, you know, as you move forward. Like, there's literally, I was thinking about it, because in Mixtape, that's the year that Barra was, like, A++++. And, like, for you to be able to represent in that area and just be, dude, the echo effect, I mean, everywhere. But it's just like, kids can identify with the fact that you are into different kind of stuff, coming from different places, and still rip the bag out of it. Sorry, I just blew you out. I'm sorry. Dude, I do this. I froth too hard, Bobby, you know.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I appreciate it. But, I mean, like, I get it. I never really look at it like that, you know, because I kind of see it more as, like, how it can be confusing for a kid. You know what I mean? Like, if someone was like me, or had the same kind of family dynamic as me and in a whole different world, you know, like for instance, like, not to pull the race card, but people would be like, oh yeah, you're Mexican 4 days out of the week, but come weekend and Friday you're white because you go surf, you know. So you're like, what the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And it's like, it makes you confused. And then, so, like, surfing and stuff, when you tell me that, I don't see it in that. I see it as how it could be confusing for a kid.
Okay.
Because you're kind of being pulled one way and another. And I just finally feel like I've personally found my way in the last, like, 6-7 years when I met my wife. I met her, you know, years ago, but we had a kid, and then you realize that shit doesn't matter. But when you're a kid, you know, you're influenced by things, and you know, it's so different. The way you think is different. And so when I see as people looking like that, I can maybe see the adults looking at it maybe the way you do, if I inspire or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
If not, whatever. But kids, I can see it being, like, a little bit different, you know, like a struggle. Like, so, I mean...
honestly, I just appreciate your honesty, because that's rad, just to hear that and have your perspective of it. I don't know, like, if kids are tuning in on this or if they're feeling that way now, but it's just, to be genuine like that is, I would say, one of your hugest strengths. Like, always throughout time, it's just like, you're real, you know?
I mean, yeah, I just, I don't know, I just say how I feel it,
yeah.
I don't like the sugarcoating. You know, I've been around it my whole life with, like, not to talk shit on surf industry, but I know, like, that industry, like, how, I'm not saying how a lot of people was around growing up. If something was the problem, they tell you. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shying away from a confrontation, you know? Where I feel like a lot of people, then I went into the surf world and everyone acts like they're your friend, but then you come to hear behind your back, like, through my manager at the time, how much people were talking shit about me, and then they would smile in my face, and so it's just this weird thing, and I've always not liked that. I'd rather, I'm not saying I want respect from it, but I enjoy getting. I enjoy that I can look at another man and he can tell me how he feels, and I'm not gonna get mad. But I can respect that he has the honesty to tell me, and I appreciate that a lot more. And that's kind of how I want to carry myself. Like if something really bugs, I don't want to be that person who does that. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna like get you a contract, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them, and then you hear why they didn't do that when you just say, hey, you're not the right fit, or I don't think this is why I don't want to sign. All right, I respect that. Like I like that, and then we can move forward. But it's that what I really don't like, and that's what I try not to be, because I just didn't like that when it was done to me.
Well, and that's a universal lesson as well. Like I'd say that goes outside of surf, like, just being an honest person like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's in obviously every industry, and even family members. Like not everyone's like, but there are a lot of people, I'm sure, that everybody knows, no matter what, if they got a problem, they tell you, and you got to respect that.
Yeah, and it's real talk.
And I just don't like that pitter-patting around, But anyway, I mean...
Dude, I love it, Bobby. Honestly, like, you're the man, and I don't know, it's totally goofy. I'm going to blow you out again, but I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for Pat, Dana, and I.
Oh, I didn't do nothing. You guys...
Come on, dude. You've always been super cool, and I just appreciate it, so thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad to see you guys doing good.
Oh, we've been having fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been really cool.
When's Pat coming back? Is he stuck there?
He is. So he's actually him and Hanalei are staying around Byron area with the in-laws, and it's crazy because, and you would know this because they send photos of their baby Canyon, and it's literally like every week he's like this chia pet. He just grows, and it's like, oh my gosh, we had a FaceTime and he was like basically saying words. It's like, dude, Pat, like what? We're missing this? Like, no, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, the kids will change everything, but at least they're doing good. I mean, they're because I heard they closed the borders, so they're just stuck in their spot. Can you fly back if you wanted to, or what's the...
No, so he can't. So he's going to wait. I think he has like a whole another month or 6 weeks, and then they're going to reassess, but he's in a good spot. Like, the Rapani family has a really cool spot, so he's just enjoying it, and he's getting way more sunshine than we are, so it's kind of just like right on.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you guys are doing good. I mean, it's crazy because you feel like when this time, obviously you don't really realize, like, everyone, like, puts their emphasis on, I feel like, wealth and not the human health. You know what I mean? And now it's come to a part where it's like, shit, our health is everything, and I don't want anyone I know getting sick or passing away, or even like, grandparents and stuff. That's horrible, and then it's with how much bad it is, I think, I don't know, it's kind of, I just personally hope that everyone that I know is not affected, so it's good to hear you guys are doing good, because, that's the last thing anyone wants to hear, especially Pat with the kid and stuff, like,
totally.
Things change so much when you become a parent, I feel like, for me, it did anyway, and you start thinking at things a lot differently, so, like, to shine a little bit of light on this thing, a friend of mine got the virus with his wife and his 2 kids, and his 2 kids are under 4 years old, so I don't know who's listening or whatnot, but if they're worried about how I am, my friend, so his wife is a cop here in town. She's a police officer, and she was around. So one of the doctors here in town, in Santa Barbara, in Northtown, he tested positive, and so she was around his assistant, and then ended up getting the virus.
Wow.
And I kept reading all these horror stories that people just passing away, and just scary. Like,
it gets scary.
Yeah, to the point where my wife and I had to turn it off. We're like, we can't read this because it just makes us feel like, if we get it, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And, they got it and they were fine. They just kind of had a flu, and even the kids got it, but they just had a fever, and they had the lingering cough, and but they were all completely fine, and it made me just kind of feel a little better, like there's a little bit of hope. Like,
totally.
So I don't know. I mean, people might know people who got in, know that they're going to be all right, but it was the first time I actually know someone who actually got it, and I actually got to speak to them You know, I know obviously there's cases that are bad and people are passing, but I'm saying there also it did shine a little bit of light. Like, okay, like maybe if we do get it, or kids get it, or whatever, you know, like I think we're gonna be.
That's a full ray of sunshine, because you hear so much overwhelming stuff, and in California the population is so massive that you don't really know people that are getting it. So I mean that's a cool firsthand experience of just like, hey, batten down and try to get through it.
Yeah, he said that they were like a week, and then they were all right, and they're completely fine, and they're all good now.
Cool.
Like, they're in the clear, but anyway,
yeah,
weird time, and that helps anybody. Yeah, it sure helped me out.
That's cool.
I was scared reading all this stuff, you know. So
yeah,
anyway, I just hope everyone stays healthy, obviously.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you, Bobby.
No worries. All right, so I want to see you in some video part. It made me feel like I couldn't even surf in Texas. I was fucking.
Are you kidding me?
You guys were like, you had like a rocket on the back of your board. You were like, the minute you hit the lip, you were like projecting so high. It was sick to watch. And you know what? It actually made me respect the air game a lot more, because I always was like, I don't even care about this shit. And then I got to Texas and I was like, this is actually really fucking cool.
Yeah, really cool.
It made me appreciate that type of surfing a lot more, because I've never been somewhere where every single wave someone's going into the air.
Yeah.
You know, so it was cool to watch you and all these guys, and it's definitely, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to try to be catching up to you on your toes, but
dude,
it's yours to feel.
Anytime, any day, any month you want to go to Waco, I'm there. I will book the ticket straight up. So let's do it.
Me too. I was talking to Tim from Monster, and I'm like, fuck, he's like, I only surf in the pool pretty much these days. I'm going out there a lot. I'm like, that's basically, I want to go out there and catch like 100 waves, and I won't even come gravel here for like months. So it's like, it's so fun.
Dude, that's epic. Well, I love it.
That was fun. You guys were ripping.
You're the man, Bob.
Some crazy shit. So it was good to see.
Epic, brother.
All right. You guys take care then, huh?
Sounds good. You too.
Cool. We'll talk to you soon.
Cool, Bobby. Talk to you soon.
Later.